Hey, welcome again to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about 7 things that I've learned working in the arts in Ghana. So over the last decade, I've been living and working in Ghana, working in the creative space, wearing a number of different hats, working as an artist, designer, entrepreneur, and showing my work and learning from different artists and people in the space. And it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot of lessons. And these are just 7 out of the many, many lessons that I've gathered over these last couple of years. And so we're going to be diving into that a little bit. But if you're new to this channel, this is Nana from Ghana, aka Afroscope. I'm an artist, designer, entrepreneur, and this is what I do. And so this is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So let's dive in. So the first point is one that can be tough to take, but it's one of the things that I learned the hard way. And it's that your friends and your family, the people that love you the most, they're going to discourage you. They're going to discourage you. Like you have all these brilliant ideas, and I'm one of those people. Have all these things and projects that I shared and ideas and things that I wanted to do. And I'm telling my friend, telling my family, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like this thing is not gonna work. Why are you even doing this in the first place? Why don't you focus on what your degree is in? My background is in economics and statistics. They're like, what is this art thing that you're trying to do? What is the point? And sometimes it can be tough. It can be tough to hear all this negativity and people projecting their fears on you and discouraging you from following and realizing some dreams that you may have. And sometimes you can't blame them. They haven't seen enough examples of people who've been successful doing this thing that you're saying you want to do. And if you aren't very clear on why you are doing what you're doing or why you want to pursue a journey in the arts, something that can be so thankless and something that can be so exhausting and can take so much out of you, be so draining, it can be tough not to be discouraged and dissuaded from following your dream. So you have to be aware of this. There's gonna be a lot of people who care about you, who will discourage you actively. And it leads to my second point. You have to find your why. Why are you doing this in the first place? What is driving you to pursue such a journey? Something that in our part of the world, a lot of people don't even understand. It's like, what is the point of this? Like arts, culture, like who cares? You have to find your why. You have to know the reasons why or have a sense of the things that make these different ideas and projects you want to pursue matter to you. What is it that is driving you? And it's very important, especially if you're trying to enter this art space as a professional, because you need things like your artist statement. What is the reason behind your work? What are some of the ideas and concepts that you're looking to explore with the work that you're doing and the vision that you have, the ideas that you're looking to explore? They need to be very clear. And in the beginning, it might not be so clear. The clarity might not be so, clearly defined, but it's something you need to work on, something that over time you need to look at how other artists have navigated the space. How are they talking about their work? What is the purpose behind their work? Can you learn something from there? Can you just look even within? What are the things that matter to you? What influenced you to want to express yourself, whether it's through music or visual arts or performance? These things matter. Because if you don't have a clear why, you would be so easily swayed or dissuaded from continuing to pursue this vision. And the next point is a bit unrelated, but it's one thing that I have also found that matters is to show up to as many different arts and creative programs as possible in the beginning. You know, for me, like not living in the capital, not living in Accra, and Accra being where a lot of the things happen, like I found myself having to constantly spend hours going to programs and events. And looking back now, it was so crucial. It wasn't something I was intentionally doing, something that someone told me, you know, you have to be at every event or as many as possible, but it just so happened that way. I was curious. I wanted to know what was happening. And so I made it a point to show up to the different art shows, openings, talks, seminars, that sort of thing. And that's how I expanded my network. That's how I got to know people who are in the space doing interesting things, people who were creating institutions, building a practice, and talking about things that were relevant in ways that were compelling. And so for me, it's like one thing that I would say, just like going out there, networking, and getting comfortable also speaking about your work and some of your intentions and your plans and how to, you know, really get into it. Really get into it. Like it matters. It matters to just show up and learn from what the artists are doing, the other artists are doing. How is their work being displayed? How are things being curated? If you're like me and you didn't go to art school, these moments matter because that's how you learn how things are done professionally. That's how you learn how people write about their work or how curators write about work that they are presenting in a show. That's how you learn how different artists speak about their work. For me, it was absolutely crucial, and it's one of the top things that I've learned working as an artist in Ghana. You know, it's super, super crucial to be aware and to show up to these events. And it leads directly to my next point, which is you need to get to know some of the other artists. What are your contemporaries doing? How are they crafting narratives around the work that they're doing? What are they talking about? Who are they? You need to get to know them. Like this point is so crucial. We are not in this space alone. And working as an artist in a place like Ghana, and I'm, you know, guessing other African countries as well, the industries, they're not even mature enough to fully call them industries. We are getting there. And these are the people shaping these spaces, the artists themselves, the curators, gallerists, the people who are doing the work to create a scene. You need to know them, especially fellow artists and designers, your fellow creatives. It's important to get to know them, chat with them regularly, visit their studios, you know, see what they're doing, and invite them to yours as well. That's how it works. And when they have events, it's important to show up. That's how they also show up to yours. And it's also good to create projects with them, to design events, to design collaborative concepts that you can explore together and even form collectives. You know, I became a part of some collectives in Ghana, and it's really shaped and influenced my practice positively. And I've gotten to know other artists that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And it matters. It matters to share ideas, to critique, to hear some feedback. I know in a place like this, or in Ghana, I've realized like sometimes critiquing people's work, it's often looked at as like maybe you're hating on them or something. But if you have a relationship with some of these artists, that sort of thing doesn't get in the way. Critiquing makes it's clear that you're trying to, help each other level up. But I digress a little bit. The main point is we need to get to know the fellow artists who you regard as your contemporaries. And connected to that is my next point. It's like also learning about and getting to know some of the legends in the space, some of the artists who've come before and done their work and set the path, you know, those that sort of came before and opened the door for us to also make our mark. It's really great to learn from them, their practice, how they went about their work, and if they are accessible, getting to them directly, asking them questions. Often it may seem daunting, but they actually enjoy that. They actually want to share and sometimes can even be like mentors. I look at my self and how an artist like Kofi Setoji was a great influence for me. This is an artist that I got to know and really taught me a lot when I started working here in Ghana as an artist. And I feel without that sort of guidance and connection and learning, things would have been extra hard for me. And so it's super crucial, just even if you can't access them directly, like what is their work? What is their practice? What is what is it that made them special or revered? What can you learn from that? Just being intentional, just being a bit nerdy and diving in, watching videos, talks, reading about their practice. Um, I think of artists like Wiz Kudowo that I've gotten to meet and connect with a bit, Abladi Glover, Larry Otu, James Barner, legendary Ghanaian photographer who has stories to share for days. Just getting to know people like this matters. It's all about learning our history, learning about the people who shaped the space to get it to the point that it is. Those things matter. And on learning, this connects directly to my next point, which is we got to learn about our country. We got to travel the country and see the different parts of it, the different cultures, and really immerse yourself, like dive in. I know when it comes to travel, a lot of folks, and this is not knocking anybody's ambition, but a lot of folks want to leave Ghana and travel to whether it's Santorini or Rome for a vacation or wherever it may be, Miami, you name it. People want to go there. Great. It's good to travel, see the world. But why not also travel within the country? I found that that's a way to enrich your practice, especially as someone from a place where there's so much about this place that we don't know, that we weren't taught, that we're systematically erased from our curriculums, and we just don't know about. Why not prioritize visiting these places in order to connect with different perspectives, different people, and find more stories that can make your work more authentic, more grounded, more rooted in our history, in our culture, in things that matter to who we are and where we're from. So that's my next point. I've had the chance, I made it a point actually to travel throughout as much of Ghana as possible. There almost all the corners of Ghana I've been, and it's just mind blowing how much we don't know and how much we can learn by just prioritizing visiting places in Ghana. Like go to Salaga, go to the remote parts, Bremai, you know, visit Ghana, see Ghana, and enrich your practice that way. It's cheaper than saving up thousands of dollars to visit, where is it? Like the Netherlands or Japan or wherever. Those things are important, but I just feel there's so much that we are leaving on the table by not prioritizing rooting ourselves more in our stories here. And my last point is, sometimes just to keep things simple. A lot of artists have asked me, how do you come up with your narratives? What are the things that you're, bringing into your work to make it interesting? And oftentimes, I just try to encourage people, just keep things simple. What are the things in your life that matter? What are the things that you're discovering that you want to learn about? Find a way to just talk about those things with a bit more depth. Do some research, obviously, and make it a more compelling story to tell. But don't get so caught up in those jargon heavy descriptions. Like sometimes you go to an art show and you're reading the text about the show and you have no idea what the person is talking about because it's just so many big words and such confusing terminologies that are being used to make the work seem deeper than it actually may be. Don't fall in that trap. Just try to keep things simple and be able to explain the work to a 3-year-old, And that's one of the things that I've learned being here. The big words and trying to be overly conceptual, it's actually hurting us as artists than it is, helping us because it's falling into this over intellectualizing trap that often detracts from quality work being made. That's one of the things I've learned. And yeah, that's where I'll end this. I mean, there've been so many lessons that I've learned over my time here, like the necessity or the value in exploring grants and residencies, which I can dive into a bit more in other episodes, or even the need to experiment outside of your niche. If you're a painter, maybe dive into like dance. If you're a photographer, try carpentry. If you're a textile artist, try something digital. There's so many things that I've learned over my time here that have enriched my practice. And I will share more as we go along, as we warm up more into this journey. But this is what I have to share today. 7 things that I've learned working in the arts in Ghana. I hope you found some value here. If you have, like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. This is Afroscope.